This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
So, I mean, this is a real estate show. We're not trying to, get political in all of this.
Why not?
Why not?
Everything's political.
Everything is political. Man, you just go to a family function and, hey, I thought we were here for the kids. Nope, right. It's political. But it's just fascinating to me what all of the savings and all the waste that had. So on one hand, you have waste from the government, and on one hand, you have savings like with Doge and, things like that. How is it that...
Wait, who are we talking with?
We're talking with David Webb.
David Webb.
David Webb. He's like the Elon Musk.
That's right.
Of property taxes.
Waving around a chainsaw when it comes to your property taxes.
I am looking at his website, and it is stunning. I am a harsh critic, but like on here it says 86% success rate, no savings, you don't owe anything, no savings, no fee, expert representation, lowproptax.com. By the way, I'm not paid to say anything. You didn't even buy me a drink or a cigar at the
You're the one
mixer.
offering gifts.
Yeah. But this is just incredible that the government is charging people incorrectly, and there's up until now been no recourse. Like, why are they so wildly inaccurate with their property values?
So the government, county assessors all across the nation, they use outdated taxing systems that are essentially 40 to 45 years old. But it's just like the IRS. The system's so big now, they can't change it. They can't upgrade it because it would be a catastrophic failure. So there's a lot of cracks right now in their taxing systems that causes a lot of overvalues of properties. So it's not entirely their fault, assessors, they can't see everything. And, they try to educate homeowners and property owners the best they can, but it's also not in their best interest to do that because then they're losing their tax base. So
it's broken. They know it's broken, but they're not too incentivized to fix it.
Correct.
Got it. But you have now created this system, this process that 86, according to your website, 86% of the time, you are saving people money.
Yeah, so we find those cracks in their systems. We know we can go and tell what a property is overvalued by and why, depending on what factors it's exposed to. So also, I didn't talk about this too much, but on the investor side, actually. So if you go and you buy an investment property and then you're putting a lot of money into it, you're renovating it, that whole time where that property is vacant and what you're renovating it with, we can actually use all of that to reduce the property taxes for that amount, and also what the repairs were. A lot of people don't know that whenever they're doing like buy and holds or rental properties, large apartment syndications. So
yeah, I could see this being a more difficult conversation with like a typical homeowner saying, hey, you know what, we can save you money, and watching television, getting on social media, listening to the radio, you're constantly being sold. Driving down the road and you're seeing billboards, you're constantly being sold stuff, so the consumer's a little bit more hesitant. But I could see this being a home run with investors. They're like, absolutely, sign me up. I know my property assessment is wrong. How do I fix it? And but so you do a lot of work with investors, correct?
Yeah, about 70% of our customers are investors, from multifamily units all the way up to 100-unit apartment complexes all across the nation. So,
and then the same thing with them. Once they're in the system, they'll get notified if their property qualifies for a reassessment?
Yeah, we'll monitor the tax situation with their property, and if we see anything that's out of spec, then we're going to go and notify that property owner that we may need to go and do a property tax appeal.
Okay. And so just so we're clear, like this is not just single-family homes, but this is also like commercial-type properties as well?
Yeah, right now we're focused just on apartments and multifamily. In the future, we're going to expand out into land and industrial and commercial office space, things of that sort, but we're not there yet.
Okay. So, but if you have apartments, if you have houses, like go to lowproptax.com and see how much money you can save. I mean, 86% of the time, that's worth 5 minutes. How long does it take for them to fill out, because it says right here, start your appeal. How long does it take for them to fill out that form?
Yeah, it takes about 3 minutes to go and fill out some information, and then after that we do some back-end processes where we go and find out their tax situation essentially, and then we'll schedule a follow-up call with them, and then we'll get some more information. They go to a portal, they upload like any appraisals, tax documents, rent rolls, damage, repairs, anything like that. They upload that, and then it's pretty much hands-off after that for the property owner.
So your software can read the documents?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, cool. And you were talking too about how just growing this company, because I mean, who doesn't want to save money, right? Growing this company, getting plugged in with title companies, so that way whenever somebody buys a property, this is now a value add for that title company to say, hey, they're basically sharing the information with you, right, and seeing if they can qualify for some savings.
Yeah, so our growth strategy for our company is actually we want to get to where we integrate our workflow of spotting these properties that are overassessed. We want to integrate that into the closing process at title companies, and we'll do a revenue share with those title companies, and then we can also upsell our services to every single property that qualifies. And this makes the title company actually stand out among other title companies because now they're able to provide more value to their clients than other title companies. It's a very competitive market for them. And the same thing for real estate agents and mortgage loan brokers as well. We offer referral partner programs like that where we do a revenue share with them too to offer more value to their clients.
Got it. And just for the record, I am not part of that program. This is the first I'm hearing of it. But so let's say somebody's buying a house and the title company is affiliated with you. Is that an extra fee in the escrow process, or is like how are your services paid for?
Yeah, so in that process, ideally it would all be at closing where they would pay our fee at closing, get all the docs signed. It's just much more convenient and less touch points for them to go and do that information, fill out those forms right at closing, than to go do it another time separately. So it's just more convenient for the buyer.
Got it. And then if there's no savings to be had, how would that work?
There wouldn't be any fees, or if we charge them, we'll refund them.
Okay. And then the great news is now they're in the system, so if an activity takes place where the property tax is increased by a certain amount, their account will be flagged. They'll be notified that they may be eligible to appeal.
Correct.
This is so freaking cool. Like, you found a need.
It's a very unique business and industry to get involved in. So I'm curious, like, how old are you?
I am 29.
You're 29 years old. So is this something you thought of while you were in high school? How do you get involved in something like this? How did you get started?
Yeah, so essentially I was a property owner. Whenever I was about 18, I bought my first property.
Wow,
and
18.
See, people say you can't. Home ownership's out of reach, and then here's
now
an 18-year-old.
that's a whole other story.
Yeah,
How did you get involved at 18 years old?
Yeah, so came from a poor family. I didn't really have money, but I knew I didn't want to repeat that for my life. I knew I wanted to create some kind of generational wealth for my family. And what I did is I started educating myself on how to make money. I did that for about a year. I read hundreds of books, and essentially I found real estate. But then the problem was, okay, well, real estate probably costs the most out of all these things. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And then I got really resourceful, and I found out about government grants. So I actually went and I applied for government grants. I got 2 of them, filled out the forms myself, and I got like $50,000 from the government to go and buy a property in a specific area in Illinois is where I was living at the time. And I went and I bought in this area. I bought a property right behind a major college. So that was one of the zones I could buy in, and I bought it there. Wow. And what I did is I rented out the top 2 rooms to college students. I slept in the basement, and then I was cash flowing pretty heavy then.
Oh, my gosh.
And
at 18.
Yep.
Wow.
And then I took that, and I bought another property. All the savings from that, I bought a flip, and then I was sleeping there, working on it every single day, swinging the hammer, just trying to build some wealth for myself. And I just kept on rinse and repeating that until I worked my way up to about 28 properties.
Wow,
do you still
28 properties.
You still own the 28?
I sold a bunch of them to start another company, but I do have 6 that are fully no mortgage on them. I paid them all off. So.
Nice.
Wow,
this
good
guy
for you.
Figured it out. But we hear these stories a lot, how they're coming from nothing, and they've got that fire in them, and they want to do something. And you hear great stories about that's the American spirit. That's what's so inspiring about this country is that kind of attitude and spirit of learning that, you know, I can do more, I can do better.
And I like that you came from nothing and you said, hey, this is not, like, I'm going to change this. Like, you weren't the victim in that situation. Like, you were determined to change it, and you changed it fast. 18, and now you're 29. How long did it take you to have the 28 units?
I was 24 when I had those units, and then actually after that, I went and I partnered with some people, and I bought a 165 unit apartment complex in Indiana at 25 years old.
So 25. Okay.
Incredible.
Wow. And so this also adds some color to the situation, because now you're like, have all these properties, you're paying property taxes. Like, this isn't right.
Right.
So is that kind of what was the genesis for low prop tax?
Yeah, so essentially how this whole company started in the very beginning, one of my properties, I went and I reviewed the property tax card because I'm a curious person. So I went and I reviewed it, and I was looking on it, and it said that one of my properties had a full HVAC system, and I knew that it had window units. So it had window AC units. It didn't have a full HVAC system, and the difference in price there between a window units and an HVAC system is about $50,000. So I called the county up. I was like, hey, I see this on my property tax card. It says it has a full HVAC system. This isn't right. And I showed them pictures. I have window units. I always have. And what they did is then they're like, oh, our bad, sorry. They refunded me for a year, but not the 5 years that I had owned it. They only adjusted it for 12 months, which I thought was kind of wrong because it was their mistake to begin with. But I was happy to get a refund, and then I started checking all my other properties, and I started finding other mistakes too. One of my properties, they thought a portable garage like you buy at Home Depot was a permanent garage on a structure.
Yeah.
That was like an additional $400 a month. Sorry, not a month, a year. That I was paying for that, so it got that adjusted off. There's another one. Well, that's when I started really finding out like more creative things where, oh, I have an old roof that needs to be repaired. I can actually appeal the property value because the roof needs to be repaired. I don't have the money to do it right now, so I can reduce the value of the property until I get that repaired. I started finding out things like that. And then over the next 5 or 6 years, I started just helping out my friends because I got good at the process. Like, oh, I could reduce your property taxes. So I kind of did as a side hustle for additional income. And then I started some additional businesses in that time. So I became very business savvy and understanding on the business side. And then AI really started coming to form. And I spotted how this could become a very large company by speeding up what is today a very, very manual process and turning it all into data and automation. And that's exactly what we're doing now. We're automating a system that's 50 years old that's done on essentially Excel and pen and paper.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah.
So all because you wanted to buy the first house, you got the first house, some grant money, age 18, and then you were wise enough to keep the velocity of that money going into future properties. If that had never happened, it's unlikely you would have even noticed this problem, right?
Correct.
Incredible.
What were the grants that you applied for?
So the grants, one was a grant through HUD. I believe that was like $25,000 for first-time home buyers. And then there was another grant that was specific for military, first responders, paramedics, stuff like that, for another $25,000 to buy in certain neighborhoods that they want those presences in. So I found those, and I applied for them, and then I got $50,000 to buy my first property. So, and I took that and I bought my first property right beyond the college.
It just hit me, like, so you bought your first house at 18, but weren't you in the military?
Yes. Yep.
So when did you join the military and when did you get out?
I joined at 18 and I got out at 26. So the whole time I had a full 9-to-5 job, and then from my 5 to midnight is when I would work my butt off on the properties. Like, I would sleep at my rental properties working on them, go in the morning, go to work, come back, sleep on a mattress inside the property, go and work, swing the hammer. And I did that for years until I was able to start hiring people to do the work for me. So I put in the work. I put in the sweat equity in all my proproperties. I watched YouTube videos on how to do it. I didn't know how to do these things, but I watched videos. So.
Incredible.
Next level.
Didn't even, because I was going to ask you that. Where'd you learn to do construction? Oh, watched YouTube videos.
YouTube University.
Oh my God.
So again, like, this is, I mean, don't get me wrong, low prop tax, freaking incredible. But the guy behind low prop tax, David Webb,
right?
Like this is a story I think more people need to be aware of.
That's why I like to hear these stories, because that's how I determine whether or not a business is going to be successful. Because you can have a guy who has an interesting idea, but if at the core, and that's how they determine folks, like when you ever watch Shark Tank, right? A lot of times those billionaires will not invest in the company, they invest in the people because they know that that person's going to be successful whatever they do. And that's this guy right here. You know, just based on what his DNA is, that he's going to be successful in whatever he does.
Yeah, I just learned something. You're not investing in the company, you're investing in the people.
That's right.
I just learned something. Well, David, thank you so much for being on the show today. Do you have any last bits of information you want to share with the audience?
I would highly recommend, if you think that you're overpaying on your property taxes, just go and call the county. Ask them questions about your property tax bill if you're getting supplemental
Forget
tax
that.
bills.
Go to lowproptax.com. Just
That's right.
enter your information and see if it's worth anything. And if it is, great. You're going to save some money. If it's not, it doesn't cost you anything but 3 minutes of your time. So thank you so much for being on the show, David.
Thank you. Hello, my name is David Webb, and I'm the CEO and founder of Low Prop Tax. For 8 years, I defended my country on the battlefield. Now, I'm fighting a new battle, taking on broken tax systems and putting hard-earned money back in the hands of the people. If you think you're overpaying on property taxes, check out lowproptax.com.
The website again is lowproptax.com. Low, L-O-W, prop, P-R-O-P, tax, T-A-X.com. Let David Webb, again, he's a United States Air Force veteran, spent 8 years protecting our country. Let him and his team help you save money on your property tax. Go to the website lowproptax.com.